Okay, Sammy, if you would just start off a little bit about overall in general, how you thought this season went for you personally.
I think the season went well, but yeah, I think I had a good season, and I'm proud of what I did. But didn't end the way that I wanted to. But that's just how things go. I think I could have wrestled better at the end of the year, but we're back to work and getting after it.
And heading into postseason Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, what were your thoughts going in, and how did you feel about your chances?
I felt great. I just trust in the program and in my coaches and my teammates. So it's just you know, uh, I can't like hear myself through this. I can't. Yeah, sorry. All right, my fault. Can you ask that again?
Sure. Just after the end of the regular season, a whole new season starts in Big Ten and NCAAs. What were your thoughts going into those tournaments?
Yeah, I was locked in. I felt ready. I was, working with Steber and Jaggers as much as I could. And, I just felt prepared. I was locked in and ready to win it. But, things didn't turn out that way, but still proud of the way I competed.
Okay, so season's over. Now, what are your plans and how do you attack this summer?
We're gonna get into some freestyle stuff. I didn't wrestle any freestyle last year, so it's gonna be good to get back out there at the US Open and U23s. And I know a couple other guys on the team, a good amount of guys are gonna be competing as well.
And then your thoughts on next season and what's coming back for the Buckeyes next year.
I'm excited. We didn't have the best performance this year in Detroit, but we're bringing everyone back. We got a lot of guys coming in. One of the best recruiting classes there's ever been. So I'm just so excited for the future here at Ohio State, and what we got coming in and the guys we got coming back. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Chase, Mick, you have any questions?
Yeah, actually a little bit. We'll switch it over. Sam, I feel like you're a guy that really has the pulse of this team. So I'm just curious. Obviously, at Nationals, you're focusing on what you got to do. But how cool is it to see a guy like Gavin finally put it together? He's making the run that he is.
Oh, man, it's awesome. I mean, it's hard to put into words, because, I've been living with Hoffman since I got here at Ohio State. That's my dude, and I know how hard he works, and day in, day out, I know how he lives, and, he earned that. That just don't happen. He earned that.
Being his roommate and sort of just being a guy that came in with him, both PA guys, you've sort of been able to see the whole progress of his career, whether that's one heavyweight, everything he's gone through. So just seeing all that and culminating at this past year with being an All-American, what was the feeling like when you were able to finally sort of celebrate that with him?
Yeah, man, I knew it. I knew he had it in him. He's always had that ability. It was just a matter of time when it was going to pour out, and it happened at the right time. He just kept putting in the work, and it paid off. And yeah, I'm so proud of him.
Actually, that's all I have for you on Sammy. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Sammy, I was curious, what you said about Gavin could be true about a couple of other wrestlers in the program. Is there anybody that you've seen maybe in the last couple of years or maybe just in this last season that you would expect will take a step forward next year?
Yeah. I think everybody can do better than what we did this year. I know that in my heart that I could have been higher on the podium. Some other guys who might have missed the podium, Heinzelman, he's going to be back, and I know he's capable of getting on there. And Ethan Smith too, lost a heartbreaker in the blood round, but I know what he's capable of, and I know how good he is at wrestling. So we're bringing all these guys back, and I know we can do something special.
Coach has talked pretty highly about a guy like Patty Gallagher that redshirted this season, but he's looking forward to seeing Patty compete for that 157 slot next year. Did you get to work with him at all this year, and was that somebody that you were able to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I got to wrestle with Patty a lot this season. He's a tough kid. He's just hard nosed. He wrestles hard. He's physical. So he's got all the means to be really successful in this sport. He's just got the hand fighting, the chain wrestling. He puts a lot of moves together. So I'm excited once he gets into a season and starts finding his groove.
And just one more question for you. A couple of guys on the roster last year switched weight divisions. Is that something that could be in the cards for you, or are you thinking that you'll stick at 149 for another year?
Yeah, I think it's looking like I'll be at 49. Yeah, I think that's just what's best for the team right now. So yeah, that's the way it's looking.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Can I get one more question in there real quick?
Sure.
Chase asked me about Patty, made me think. So, I mean, you're a guy that went through a redshirt year at Ohio State. Coach Ryan's he's pulled some guys he's made to go through. What sort of information can you share with Patty when he's going through that redshirt experience? Because it can be a grind, obviously.
Yeah, that redshirt year is just really a time where you can get a lot from the coaches, and you're not competing as much. So you just can get a lot of extra work in the morning sessions. I come in and work out. I see Patty in there. He's working with Steve on something. So he's just going through that redshirt year. You're going to work out a lot of the kinks that you need to fix. Like I said, he's got all the skills to be really successful at this level. Now it's just fine tuning them and making it happen.
I mean, he's a guy that's at imagine like a 157 type of guy. So he's somebody that you're wrestling with often during this redshirt year. How much can he make you to sort of help you even get better as you prep for the nationals and your ultimate goals?
Yeah, he gives a good feel, and he just wrestles hard. So, every time I'm gonna scrap with him, I know it's I'm gonna have to work as hard as I can. And when you got guys like that who's just pushing you and they're pushing themselves, you both get better.
That's all I got. Thanks, Sammy. Appreciate it.
All right, Sammy, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, Gavin, a lot of close matches this year for you. How did it feel for you to finally break through in NCAA tournament and start to win a few of those?
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. I always knew that I was capable of that and I could have the run like I did. So it just felt great to pull it off. And yeah, all those close matches, it was that was kind of the emphasis of my season of, I was in a lot of close matches and I turned it around at the right time where I came out on the winning end. And that was the big turnaround of the season, is just finding a way to win those really close matches and staying comfortable being down late.
Yeah, I think you were the lowest seed to become an All-American this year. When you got that first one under your belt, how comfortable did you feel that you could go far in the tournament?
Yeah. I mean, going into that tournament, I was just supremely confident in my abilities and supremely confident being able to achieve what I wanted to achieve that weekend. And yeah, that first match, didn't start out the way I wanted to. I had to come back late once again. And but I just found a way to get my hand raised, and just kind of leading up to that weekend, I knew the path that I was going to have to take to make a run, and I was just really confident that I could pull it out. I mean, I was, this was the first weekend where I went into it just very excited to wrestle. I couldn't wait to take the mat because I knew my confidence was there. It was a weird feeling because I never felt that before a wrestling event, and just that feeling, there was no nerves. Every time I took the mat, it was kind of like I knew what I was going to do. Like, it wasn't a surprise that the run I made, because in my head, I was making that run, every day leading up to it.
And wrestling in your weight class in the Big Ten is obviously difficult. How did that prepare you for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge part of why I was able to make that podium in late March. You know, wrestling that Big Ten schedule, it was a lot of the great competition. I mean, I had so many guys every week. I was wrestling a guy that was top 10 in the country, and yeah, I lost a lot, but you know, I've never lost that faith that I was gonna, you know, make that podium. And that's just the great thing about the Big Ten is that, you know, these other conferences, you might have a really good record, but none of your flaws and areas of improvements will get pointed out like it does every week. And you take them out in the Big Ten. So that's just a great thing about the Big Ten and the Big Ten tournament is that you're going to get shown every weekend where you need to get better. And it's just a great way to improve every week.
And now, what's your plans for this summer?
Yeah. So this summer, I haven't really put in paper exactly what I'm going to do. I've been kind of going nonstop for, you know, ever since I got here. So it's been good to give my body a little rest. I haven't really gotten the mat since NCAAs, but yeah, it's, you know, I love freestyle. I'm looking to do U23s at the beginning of June. And really after that, just, you know, really focus on folk style. 'Cause there's a lot of areas that I need to get better at. And that's clear. And just got to have to work on that and hone in on those positions in the summer.
I asked Sammy this about next year with the guys that are coming back in the incoming class. What are your how excited are you for next season?
Yeah. Next season's got me super excited. I can't wait until those guys get here in June. Especially, I mean, Feldman's someone that I wrestled a lot. I mean, in the summer, I, you know, go up to his high school, wrestle with him a good amount. So I know what to expect. You know, I know he's a dude's a tank. He's gonna be someone in the room where, you know, I'm gonna love to grab him, you know, as much as I can, because I know he's gonna get the best out of me. And hopefully I can help him and wherever he needs help. But I know he'll do the same for me because he's gonna be something special, that's for sure.
Hey guys, any other questions?
Yeah. So Gavin, I was just curious. I mean, you're a guy, obviously you probably don't look at the rankings coming in here, but you're a guy that was multi-time Pennsylvania state champ, 100+ wins. Like you had a very good high school career. So just coming in, working through these first few years where it hadn't clicked the way you wanted it to, what was that feeling like to know that you were going to be an All-American when that match happened, that result happened this year?
Yeah, I mean, that was a surreal feeling. I mean, all the ups and downs that happened throughout my 4 years here is crazy to explain. I mean, like my second and third year too. I mean, ending the year last year with a losing record of 5-7 and not qualifying for the NCAA tournament, you know, it put me in a really dark place, and it was hard to get out of, but leaned on my teammates, my coaches, and, you know, just wanted to quit a lot. I mean, you know, thought that, you know, I wasn't meant for college wrestling, you know, calling my parents a lot, telling them that, you know, I think this is it for me. I don't know if I want to go through it, but looking back, that all those experiences and all those hardships really made me, you know, the man I am today. And I'm really blessed for those setbacks and just those opportunities to grow as a person. And it really just made me a better man. So, you know, just looking back at all the things that I pushed through, and, you know, then no matter what happened to me on the mat, I just kept my head down and kept working hard. And, you know, getting on that podium was a great feeling. But at the same time, I left Detroit with a little sour taste in my mouth, knowing that I'm capable of more and I'm capable of getting on top of that podium. And, you know, you always don't get what you want, but yeah, that was, you know, expectations to be on top of that podium.
Gotcha. I mean, when you're talking about it there, the idea of like it might be easier to just quit. Who or what was it that sort of helped you pull you out of that and then keep getting you to where you are today and getting to the podium and everything?
Yeah. You know, it was just really, you know, my family just telling me, you know, they're telling me you got too much, you know, you're too good to quit. You know, you just gotta tough it out. You know, you're too great at this sport to give it up. And I mean, my coaches that, you know, never stopped believing in me. I was a big thing. They always knew the greatness that was inside of me. And then I just needed to, it wasn't going to come quick. Everyone's trajectory of success is differently. And I mean, Sammy, I mean, I owe him so much credit. I mean, we're living together 4 years, and I mean, he's had hundreds of talks with me that set my mind straight and, just allowed me to keep going. I mean, he was, he told me, doesn't matter when, it's going to click. Everyone doesn't, reach success at some moment, but, you just keep working hard every day, and, it's going to happen. It's all going to click. It's meant to be.
Gotcha. I'll end it on this one. Obviously, you said the top of the podium is the goal. To get that title would be the goal, but coming in with those expectations, that feeling that you can do this sort of thing, is there a little bit of weight that comes off knowing that you did get on the podium and now you can just now you go for the top? Like, you've got the podium, you got the All-American, now you go for the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't call it a sigh of relief, because I always knew that I was capable of this, but it's does, solidify on paper that I belong. In my head, I always believed that I was a top guy, but now that, I made the NCAA semis, it's, it's a good feeling that, that I'm a threat to be a contender next year. And because in my mind, I always knew that, I was right up there. I could be the number one guy. And I mean, going into next season, that's the goal. And that's what, I'm going to work all off season to give myself the best chance to end up on top of the podium in March in Tulsa.
Thank you, Gavin. That's all I have.
Jason,
Gavin,
anything?
just one. Oh, sorry, Dan. Yeah, just one follow-up for you, Gavin. I know you mentioned Sammy as somebody that kind of came around you and supported you. I know after I believe it was your quarterfinal match, ESPN grabbed you for a quick interview, and you said that you love Ohio State. You love this brotherhood that you have in this program. What makes Ohio State wrestling so special, from the personalities and from the people that you're surrounded with, those relationships that you get to have?
Yeah, I would just say the thing that sets this program apart from many others is that it really is a family, and we care for each other so deeply that when we see each other, be successful, that we feel like that's us out there too. And that's a great feeling. I mean, the coaches from day one, they care less about the wrestler I am and more about the person that I am. And they help me become a better person every day. And it's really a family. It's someone, everyone that's been through that program can definitely say that this is the closest thing to, family that we got. A lot of us are far away from home, and, there's not many of us that get homesick, because we feel like, everyone on this team is family, and we could just talk to each other about anything and everything. And we know that at the end of the day, what we go through with one another is going to make us such better people. And yeah, it's just a brotherhood and family that can't really describe, because it's just a special place. And, I'll do anything for my teammates and my coaches. And I know at the end of the day that they got my back, and they'll do everything for me too.
Thanks, Gavin.
All right, Gavin, thanks. Appreciate you.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
And we'll be right back with Coach. Coach, thanks for giving us the time here. Let's just start off by maybe just a quick recap of the season.
Quick recap of the season, huh? Well, I mean, there's a super high, there's obviously a high standard here. We work in an incredible department. We've had a couple teams win a national championship this year. I know Holly Brown won another one, synchronized swimming, and our women's hockey team. Nadine and her staff won, and Holly's staff won. So there's a high standard here. And the wrestling program has been one of the most successful programs across the country, and there's high expectations. Saying that, the NCAA's the end of the year, it probably didn't go the way that I thought it would go. I mean, there were some aspects of it that were met our standard, and some that just fell short. It's a very competitive sport. Lots of people want to win. We don't have a market on toughness or grit or desire. And we had some great performances, and we had a few that cost us, finishing out of the top 10, which is where I thought we could fight for a trophy, but we'd be somewhere between 6 and 10. So, look, I love my team, love their effort they gave throughout the year, love the culture, and we're excited about getting ready for next season. But it's on to the next year.
Okay, eight guys in the tournament, 8 guys qualified. A lot of those guys are coming back. What do you see about, or what can you say about those guys that ultimately made the tournament and the 4 that made All-America?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Gavin was the star of the show. I think he was the lowest ranked wrestler in the tournament to place, be a semifinalist. I don't think that his seed was right, but his seed was his seed. So I don't think he belonged being that low of a seed. But he wrestled extremely well his first 3 matches and put himself in the semifinals by really staying in the match mentally. He made some great decisions late in the match. He was really his quarterfinal match was as good as I've ever seen him wrestle. The Oklahoma wrestler, Woodley, is very good. He did a great job offensively, defensively, mat wrestling. So Gavin was really wrestled well, and I think everyone was cheering for him. Gavin's been a mainstay in the lineup, and we all watch him work diligently day after day. He does the right thing. He makes great decisions outside the wrestling room. He's a great student. He's an easy guy to cheer for. So was really happy with his performance. Sasso wrestled tough. He wrestled one of the best kids in college in the semifinals in Yanni. And then fell to the same guy he lost in the Big Ten finals. I thought that was a winnable match as well. And in the Conci semi, he had the leg in the air to win and didn't get it. But for him, it's more about day in and day out. He's a great leader here around the country. People follow him. He's very likable. He'll go out of his way to help people. And I think at the end of the day, that's critically important. Sometimes you prepare perfectly and you execute well, but it just doesn't happen for you, right? So I would say we're super proud of Sammy, the way he competed and trained, and he goes about the sport and leading here. Let's see, Carson wrestled extremely well. I mean, I would say 65 was probably one of the toughest weight classes in the country. You had a couple of junior world champions in the weight class, right? You had the reigning national champion in the weight class. And he wrestled really well. I mean, there was a controversial call in the quarterfinals, which without question was called the wrong way. It should have won Carson the match, and it didn't. That was frustrating for him, but he came back and did what he had to do to get on the podium. So really happy, Carson, first year in the lineup, coming off an ACL tear, a major injury. I mean, I couldn't be more pleased about the way he's wrestling based on his circumstances. As you watch the national tournament, it's very easy to see that, I mean, the margin of error is small. I mean, there's so many good people, and, the minute details and timing and speed and power make the difference. And when you're out for as long as he's out, to come back the following year and be as competitive as he was is great. Again, all these guys have things to work on, and all these guys have areas of improvement, and that's what we'll focus on this offseason. But overall, really proud of those guys. Let's see who else plays for us. Gavin, Carson wrestled really well.
Taylor.
Sammy, and let's see, we had one other All-American, Romero. Romero was really, I mean, he wrestled great in his All-American match. He wrestled good all weekend. He's a guy that's been knocking on the door for quite a while. He's been a leader here as a 4-time state champion. Was a big recruit, really athletic, and we've seen the bigger he's gotten, the better he's done, because his speed, as he moves up in the weight class, the strength doesn't affect him, and the speed becomes an advantage, because typically the bigger you get, the slower you get. He was able to stay healthy most of the year. He was hurt early on, but unlike last year, he was pretty healthy leading up to the Big Tens and Nationals. He felt good. His mind was right, and he wrestled really well. So it's great to see him in the semis. And again, they're all back. We have 5 returning All-Americans. When you add Tate, Orendorff into that, I'll throw a little bit about Tate. We looked at the bracket for Tate. There's a couple of guys in the tournament that, quite frankly, we all knew Tate would have a hard time beating, right? He knows that. There's a couple of guys sometimes you can just look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, on my best day, I'm gonna have a hard time beating this particular individual. And when we looked at the bracket, we noticed that had he lost first round, he probably would have placed. We looked at that before the championships, right? But brackets are too finicky, and there's too much to consider to have someone lose first round so they can come back in the side of the bracket where it looks like he's going to place. But Tate wrestled extremely well in the tournament. He lost to some people that were better than him, and he beat some people that were ranked higher than him. I thought the Air Force win was fantastic. He found a way to win that and put himself in a position in the All-American match to place again. So, you know, knock on wood, these guys will all be back again. We'll have 5 returning All-Americans, plus Malik is back again. You know, Malik to me looked a little nervous. You know, Malik's a guy that does everything right. He trains extremely hard, and he's got to wrestle freely to compete at that weight and get on the podium. You know, we thought he placed last year, he didn't. I thought he could this year, and he didn't. So he's got one more shot at it, and hopefully he'll do that. Then, of course, the last guy out there was D'Amelio, and Dylan ran into a tough spot in the bracket, lost the first round match that we knew he had to win. He was the aggressor. He was in the legs far more than his opponent. You know, there was multiple attacks to very few attacks. And but the other guy ended up finding a way to win. So he fell back in the wrestle back to Ironman, who got upset. You know, you get the reigning national finalist in your weight. And he also, you know, Ironman also had beaten the Olympic champion that summer before. So it's a tough win. So where he fell in the bracket, but he's back, he'll work hard, and we're looking forward to another big year out of Dylan.
I think Ethan was the only other one you,
Who's that?
Ethan Smith.
Yeah, and then Ethan was just Ethan hurt. You know, we love Ethan. He's a leader. You know, Ethan's more than a wrestler. He's a great student. He's in graduate school. Right, this guy is a black shirt and a real difference maker. Unfortunately, this weekend, the weekend the NCAA was probably as poorly as he had wrestled all year. Right, so that hurts. You know, he made some poor decisions tactically. He really wasn't mentally aware of a situation in the All-American. He came back on fire. He lost. He came back. He puts himself in the All-American round, and he just didn't realize the circumstance that he was in. And you got to know the circumstance, right? You can't get taken down in 8 seconds, and you're an All-American. And Ethan Smith is pretty masterful on his feet. So to see him get taken down in 8 seconds and then give up the riding time and put it in overtime was tough. But we love Ethan. We think the world of him. You know, we hope he comes back. He's a real leader here, and we know that Ethan wrestling as well as he can is as good as anybody. So hopefully one more year for Ethan leading the team and leading the Bucks.
Hey guys, any questions from you guys?
Yeah, I'll open up. Just Coach, you mentioned Gavin to start there. Obviously, you've known Gavin for a while, recruiting and bringing him into Ohio State. What was it like to just sort of, once he got that feeling and got on the podium, once you guys knew that, what was that feeling like?
I mean, it was incredible. His quarterfinal match was, I mean, we were all celebrating under the bleachers, and, you know, he's got a great family. Mom and dad are just great people. They've supported, you know, him and the program all the way since he's been here, right? Obviously much longer than that. And you just root for good people. So when he got the job done against Woodley and moved into the semifinals, I was incredibly happy. I was a bit concerned as well that he would settle in and be happy with being an All-American, right? And I felt like the way he was wrestling, the calm and the confidence he was wrestling with, and the decision-making, that he really could win the tournament, you know? So, you know, I don't think he wrestled as well in the semis or in the 5th, 6th place match as he did earlier. So he was fighting to be an All-American. And the reality is that he should be fighting to win the tournament. But overall, super happy with him. He's back. And it was just a great weekend for him in regard to accomplishing what he felt was a realistic goal for himself.
Gotcha. I mean, you know, the pressure that can be some of these athletes, especially wrestlers, can feel just coming in. Gavin had a great high school career, coming in, doing all he did. Yeah. I mean, how excited are you to see him next year, knowing he's got like you said, he's reached the goal of being an All-American. Now he can push it a step further.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is so important in everything in life, right? And it's amazing what the psyche can do to us. We typically don't attain things that we don't think we can. And, his belief in himself has wandered a bit during his time here. Like you said, he came in a 3-time state champion, world bronze medalist. And when you start to lose close matches, you start to second guess yourself. And it was really nice to see him come out of that. And I think our fan base and our staff and, alumni and just the general wrestling fan saw this throughout the season. I think everybody noticed that Gavin Hoffman is starting to win some close matches where maybe in the past he might have lost them. And I think that gave him a lot of confidence and the confidence that he needed to find a way to fight into a semifinal bout.
Gotcha. And then transitioning away from Gavin a little bit, you're talking about the guys you bring back. One guy you have to be excited to put in the line, get in the lineup is Patty Gallagher hopefully coming off the redshirt year. How did the redshirt year go for him? What are you guys excited for next year when it comes to him?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's another level. Despite the fact that you come in as a top recruit in the country, everything's just happening faster. People are stronger. They make decisions more quickly, right? They're more tactical. They've been in more battles, and it's hard to beat someone that's been in 100 battles when you've been in 2 or 3. So we're excited about Patty. He kind of reminds me a bit of Colin Moore. Colin's Moore freshman year, he didn't blow everyone out of the water, but we saw his workload and we saw his capacity to learn and his desire to work. And Colin went from a very good, right, redshirt year to being a guy that was fighting for a national championship. And that's what we need to see, out of Patty. And I believe that we will. He works very hard. He won't waste a day all summer. He loves the sport. He's got great speed and toughness. So, hopefully we can get a year out of Patty. We need that, right? We need that out of Patty. And he'll be challenged by Bryce again, who was hurt, most of the year, ended up winning the wrestle-off over Wilcox, who's back as well. So there's some people there that have experience that will also challenge Patty.
I asked Sammy about it, and you mentioned Colin Moore when it comes to redshirt year. What is that redshirt year like? What can it do for guys that are going through it and have it?
Well, I mean, the main thing is that you're in an environment that should be far more intense than you've ever experienced in your life, right? You're in a brutal environment. In high school, most of these elite level recruits, they're trying to go places to find partners tough enough to challenge them, right? When you walk in this room, I mean, it can be very difficult. I mean, even maybe one of our best wrestlers of all time. I'll give you 2 examples, Snyder and Stever. I mean, both of those guys struggled to score points their freshman year in the room, right? And they're both 2 of the elite recruits in the country. Things just are happening faster. And a really good room should refine you. It should really refine you. And we've got enough people in the room that have challenged Patty. And basically, right, it's just creating super highways in your mind. Right? The signal goes from the mind to the muscle. And when you're under duress in a wrestling room constantly and you want to figure out answers, your brain will start to connect movements. And that's what the redshirt year does. A focused person they're gonna connect more with decision-making speed, timing, skill. So Sammy has helped Patty with that, and so have others. But Patty should be ready to go.
Gotcha. That's all I have. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach, the only division left then to talk about would be 133. Who do you see as someone that can step into that role? 2 years ago you had Decatur. Last year, I guess most recently in this season, you had Kuntz in that position. Who do you see as someone that can step up into that spot? And what do you want to see out of the 133 slot next year that would give you confidence you can contend for a title at that position?
Yeah. So first, congrats to your mom.
Thank you.
Winning another title. They just print titles over there. I mean, they're so good. So good. So congrats to her. Pretty amazing what she's done. There's a style of wrestling that is driven by a mindset that either you have it or you're gonna go against the odds. And it's a choice, right? The mindset, the desire to keep your opponent under tension the entire match is a choice. And it starts right with a belief system that this is the best way to create opportunities. The best way for me to reach my full potential is to be an absolute savage, to be someone that is going to put so much pressure on their opponent that it actually causes them to overheat. Saying that, when you think about the opponents that we're up against, everybody works hard. Everybody trains hard. Anybody worth anything in the sport understands sleep and rest and recovery. So to break someone that's doing that, you think about what's needed to do that. You have to live an extraordinary life. You have to be extraordinarily tough. And you've got to believe that it's the way to do it. I'm very confident that some of the prospects that we have coming in, based on the history of their life, believe that. And at 133, we've got someone coming in that if he continues to do what he did in high school and believe that it's the way, it'll be interesting to see how he does. He's ready to wrestle as a freshman. If he gets beat off the team by Kuntz, then he won't be in there, right? But Nick Bouzakis has the mindset, I think. To me, he seems to be right now watching the student athletes I have. He seems to be the guy. Either he or Mendez. If Mendez can get down and make the weight, either he or Mendez will be the guy at 33. That's what I think. And if that's going to change, then someone in that room has got to find a bit more fire than they've shown this past season.
You spoke to sort of the tenacity that you need to even compete in a conference like the Big Ten. I also know that you said bringing up wrestlers that compete in this redshirt season. What was it like to see some of your guys compete in tournaments again? And how valuable was that for those redshirt guys that were able to compete unattached from your program and sort of meet that expectation for the energy level they needed in your program?
Yeah, no, I mean, the redshirt years, these opens are critical. Obviously, COVID shut that down last year. This year it's back, as you stated. And competition is just an assessor, right? So it's a self-assessor. And you tie in the fact you've got to make weight. You tie in the fact that you've got the nerves, right? There's nervous energy. So you see what we see, and they learn about themselves. How much of a competitor are you, right? And to compete in the Big Ten, you've got to be a psychotic competitor. Like that's like prerequisite number one. You've got to have an incredible desire to win, a deep hate to lose, and then that just puts you in the discussion. So the fact that we saw a lot of these guys, we learned a lot about them in competition. It's one thing to see them train; it's something else, see how they compete. And being an ultra competitor, I know in Urban Meyer's book and Ryan Day's book of recruiting and being elite, that's number one. And it's the same in every sport across, no matter what sport you're playing, you got to be an ultra competitor. And you see that in competition. So it was nice, to have the year, to see one, what type of competitors they are, but two, just areas of improvement. And there's always areas of improvement, right? And the more matches you get, the more you learn about yourself.
I do have one last quick question I forgot to ask you about Gavin, but he sort of talked about the journey of like just being tough on him mentally to get through it and to sort of get where he got. How do you continue to push him and guide him where it's getting tough, where he feels like it might just be easier to not wrestle, not quit? Like, how do you push him through that?
Yeah, I mean, you just keep believing in him. Obviously his belief in himself matters more than our belief in him. But, when you do things right all the time, he's easy to believe in, right? Some people, belief to me takes some like facts behind it. It's hard to believe someone's going to progress when they're late for practice and they're tired and they're not energetic and they're not doing extra workouts. Like that's not an easy thing to believe in. Gavin does things right. So it was constantly believing him. It was small gains also. It was small gains. I think Coach Jagger started to bring him in the morning a little bit more and work on some positional things that will give him confidence in the areas that maybe be doubting himself. But you assess what you're doubting and you really attack it, right? Maybe my fitness level is not high enough. Okay, well, let's pick up cardio. Maybe my defense to the right, below my right knee isn't strong enough. Okay, let's put some more minutes in there. And you kind of try to, systematically walk through, the concerns they have and thwart them, and beat them up so that when you're in those positions, you have more confidence. He's really an easy guy to believe in. And look, he doesn't have, listen, there's a lot of things he has, but you watch him wrestle, he doesn't have amazing speed, right? His strength is good, but it's not world class. His technique is good, but what he has is discipline and high character. And he's the guy that runs, the 4.8, 5.0, 40, but he keeps getting open and he catches the ball when you throw it to him, and that's kind of Gavin, and we're really proud of him. We're really proud of him for staying with it and never giving up on himself.
Gotcha. And I'll end it on this one. I promise my last one. But speaking of guys you're proud of, I don't know how much you got to enjoy it, but the the high school wrestling tournament, obviously the weekend before the NCAAs, how cool is it to see those guys you signed that are going to come in, get some state titles and do it, have the success they did, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, we've signed a couple of really, really elite classes, and this arguably is the best class we've ever signed on paper. We got 1, 2, 3 coming in Feldman, Buzakis, and Mendez. This kid, Luke Giog, who won the Ohio High School State Tournament, dominated it. I believe is the best 82-pounder in the country coming in. He was at 70, was having a hard time. He's big and strong. He's kind of like, reminds me of a Nick Heflin. Even Romero has really, really, really good speed. And when you're cutting weight, it takes away your speed, and based on the weight classes he had to cut down. But we got Luke, we got Shoemate coming in. Every single Macron's coming in, Gavin Brown. Every recruit we signed, Carter Chase is coming in. Everyone we signed, won either their state tournament or prep nationals. And we're not done. This class still has a few more guys we're looking at to bring in this class. And the next year's class, we've got a couple of verbals that I can't comment on, but we're recruiting some really, really high level guys. And I do believe that next year's class will be a top 3 class as well, maybe number 1. We'll see what happens. There's some high level guys we're still looking at that we have the money for. So we're excited. I say, hope isn't a plan, but help is, and we're not hoping for a better season. We've got help coming, and we need help, right? We need talent and toughness and grit. And the fact that we have everybody back, plus 8 of the top recruits in the country coming in, that kind of speaks to the funds we were wrestling with this year, right? And the number of scholarships we were using. So we really decided as a staff to pull back a little bit. This 22 class was spectacular. Let's hold some money back. We'll fight with the guys we have. Let's use this money to go out and get the best class we can. And it seems to have worked. We'll see. If these guys all lived the life that lived in high school, they should be successful in college as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Coach, what are the plans for the guys this summer for most of them? What's their workouts look like for summer 22?
Yeah, so most of the elite recruits in the country, they're elite because they live the lifestyle, they live the system that they believed in. And that system, it wasn't about the state championships ending and you take off into the next wrestling season, right? That's a formula for success in high school, and it doesn't change in college, right? Sometimes these guys come to college and they think they've made it. I'm wrestling for this institution and I'm big time now, right? I've gotten there. Well, any of the elite ones, the great ones, realize you stick to the same formula that got you to where you're going. You don't veer off of what's worked. So this off season, we'll work. We'll have some 2-a-days. We'll work. This part of the year is a heavy focus on rebuilding your body, because there is no season tougher than the Big Ten wrestling season. In all of sports, it is brutal. You wrestle twice a week. The competition is fierce, and you got to make weight. So this part of the year, from now until May 31st, we're focusing on strength and we're focusing on skill. Those are the 2 areas, right? We got to plug some holes technically that cost us, and we've got to get stronger and rebuild our bodies. So there's also some competitions coming up. Some of them will compete to try to make world level tournaments, and then we get them a few weeks off in June, and then summer camps start. They'll teach at summer camps, which is great for their learning, right? When you have to teach a young person how to wrestle, it really focuses your mind on the little things. And then we'll take a little break in August, and we're back at it.
Okay, you say you're back at it, and you discussed the Big Ten this year. What does the conference look like heading into next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we may have as many points returning as anybody. Maybe Penn State's 1, we're 2 in terms of points returning. All of these teams have red shirts that are in waiting in the wings. So it'll be brutal again. Our goal is to win the Big Ten with this team, and everybody's back. And we know it's going to be tough, and we know that the off season is when the off season is when you prepare your car, and the season's when you race it, right? So we're fine tuning the vehicle right now, so that when the season comes along, all you've got to do is kind of fine tune it a bit. So a big summer. We need a big summer, right? Ohio State wrestling is below the standard it's typically been at. These guys know it, and let's see how they react.
And back to the Cavelli next year, what can fans who maybe haven't purchased their season tickets, what can they expect next season at Cavelli?
Yeah, I mean, we should have another great home schedule, right? Penn State might be in the shot next year. We'll see. We'll talk to our administration and see. Maybe next year we move one match in the shot. We should have 7 or 8 matches in Cavelli, or 7 or 8 home matches total. Should be a great dual meet schedule, and we couldn't be more excited about this team. It's an exciting team. Again, these guys are all back, a year more mature, a year of lessons behind them, and some new faces in the lineup that should bring some real energy to the program. And we need energy.
Okay, gentlemen.
It's one of the great facilities to watch a competition, and people that are sporting junkies, that sport junkies that have been in lots of different sporting events, find Cavelli to be a really electric environment. And the fans make a difference. The Iowa match was incredible. Here is one of the best dual meets I've been in. Even though we came up short, the crowd really nudged our guys along when we needed them. We got some really hard fought wins in that duel, and it was thanks to the fans and just the environment in Cavelli.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions?
Nope. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Coach.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, I just want to mention Sasso as our leader. Just want to mention, let's talk about that a little bit, because there's all sorts of nonsense out there. And so I know you know this, Dan.
Sure. He talked earlier about being back and working this summer and being a leader on this team. How important is he to the Buckeyes next year?
Let me think about what I want to say. Sorry, just with Sammy. I mean, so we meet often with our team leaders, and after the NCAA tournament, we meet with our team leaders. And Sasso, I would say, Sasso, Smith are 2 of our black shirts. And meeting with Sammy after nationals, it's apparent, right? Sammy is all about winning his own championship, but he is completely committed to helping Ohio State win a championship before he's gone. And he's got a few more chances at that. And he's been, a critical factor in recruiting. This class, a lot of these guys are out of Pennsylvania. Quite a few of these recruits are out of Pennsylvania, know him personally and have trained alongside him. So he's a guy that, continues to, despite the fact that he didn't meet his goal. I mean, it's not too often that wrestlers do meet their goals, right? When you think as highly as he does. But despite the fact that he didn't win it, he's been 2nd and 5th. He's a great leader here. And I know that he's excited about who's coming in, his role in this program, and, getting Ohio State on top before he leaves. So grateful for Sammy and his commitment to the program.
Very good. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Coach.
guys.